Ever felt like language is, well, a bit of a puzzle, especially in really formal situations or maybe on important exams? What if there was a way, kind of a shortcut, to unlock those subtle meanings? Today, we're doing a deep dive into the world of formal language. Specifically, we're looking at how to master those tricky fill-in-the-blanks questions you often see in academic tests. Our source material has some fantastic insights on how to pick the right word when, honestly, several options look almost the same.
Exactly. And this isn't just about passing a test. It's really about sharpening how you understand precision in language itself. It's about spotting patterns,
Hmm.
really grasping how words create specific meaning, especially in academic or scientific writing. You should walk away with a better toolkit for, well, clearer thinking overall.
All right, so let's kick this off. Our source mentions these reading, writing, fill in the blanks tasks are like a big deal score-wise in the reading section. They pop up maybe 5 or 6 times per exam, each with 4 blanks. What makes them so tough, and why are they worth so many marks?
Well, what's really interesting is that they use very academic paragraphs, think science journals, research papers, and there's a heavy emphasis on formal language, especially scientific terms. You're typically choosing a single word and the options. They often mean very similar things. That's where that precise understanding really becomes critical.
Okay, so precision is key. Given that, what's maybe one of the first things our source flags, like an immediate tip for tackling these?
Yeah, a really important one comes up right away. Gerunds. Those words ending in ing, like running or thinking. Generally, in formal academic writing, you'll find infinitives like to run, to think are preferred. The source is pretty clear that gerunds are often the misleading answers in these specific tasks. Unless, and this is the interesting exception, unless all four choices for that blank happen to be gerunds. Then you have to pick one, obviously.
Huh, that's a pretty clear rule right out of the gate. The source has this great example contrasting people like to think about winning the lotto versus people like thinking about lotto.
Hmm.
Can you unpack that a bit? Why is to think, the infinitive, generally better in that kind of formal setting? What does it tell us?
Absolutely. The infinitive to think, in this case, often suggests a more direct action or a specific instance or purpose. This
Hmm.
tends to align better with the objective, focused style you see in academic writing. The gerund thinking, while perfectly fine in everyday chat, can sometimes feel a bit more general or imply an ongoing state. It might lack that pinpoint specificity needed for formal, rigorous communication. It just highlights how formal language often values that directness and clarity.
Okay, that makes sense. So beyond avoiding gerunds usually, what's another quick strategy the source suggests for narrowing down choices?
Well, another really practical tip is this. When you look at the four options for a blank, you can usually eliminate two pretty quickly. They just won't fit the meaning or the grammar. Then you're left with two. And the advice is always lean towards the more formal word of those two remaining options. Again, it's not just about sounding stuffy. It's about reflecting that overall academic tone where words carry precise, widely understood meanings, often free from, casual slang or implication.
Right, choose the word with the most academic weight, so to speak.
Precisely.
Okay, with those rules, the gerund thing, the formality check, let's get practical. Our source dives into this really cool example about researchers, I think at Stanford. Yeah, engineering a low-cost plastic material for cooling clothing. It was even published in Science. Sounds like a perfect place to test these ideas.
It really is. A great test case. So let's look at the first blank they analyze. The text talks about reducing the need for, and the options are 1. Energy consuming, energy engrossing, energy absorbing, energy devouring air conditioning. Okay, so as the source says, energy engrossing, which means like grabbing your attention that's out, doesn't fit. And energy devouring. Well, that's kind of an opinion, a personification. It doesn't fit the objective scientific context of reducing something physical. So those two are gone quickly.
Okay, so we're left with energy consuming and energy absorbing. Both sound kind of plausible. How do we decide?
And this is where a concept called collocation comes in. It's super important here. While energy consuming isn't wrong in a general sense, energy absorbing is the scientifically precise term in this context. Collocation is about how words naturally pair up in specific fields. In materials, science or physics, you talk about materials absorbing energy. It's the standard expected pairing. Energy absorbing material is a common phrase. Energy consuming air conditioning is okay, but energy absorbing fits the specific scientific function being described more precisely. As the source notes, someone well-read in science would likely recognize that preferred pairing.
Got it. So it's about the company words keep, especially in specific fields. Fascinating. Okay, blank number 2. The fabric could become the basis for options are 2, costumes, garments, outfits, attires. Again, all mean clothes, sort of.
Right, but here it's about connotation and specific use. Think about it. Costumes are for plays or parties. Outfits imply coordination, a specific look. Attires usually refers to a specific type of dress, like formal attire or business attire. It has a specific formality or occasion attached. Only garments is the neutral, broad, almost technical term for articles of clothing in general. So when discussing a new family of fabrics in a scientific paper, garments is the most precise, unbiased, and generally applicable term. It fits the context without adding extra layers of meaning.
That makes perfect sense. It's the most scientifically neutral option. Okay, so finding the word without extra baggage. What about the third blank? The material helps the body to Atemskoptions. 3, remove discharge, dismiss, eject heat.
Okay, elimination first. Eject sounds too forceful, like firing something out. That's not how heat transfer from the body works smoothly. And dismiss, that implies ordering something away, like a boss dismissing an employee. Clearly wrong for a physical process.
Right, so remove or discharge.
Both are closer, but discharge is the more common and precise scientific term used when talking about releasing heat or energy or even fluids into the surrounding environment, like the atmosphere. Remove is a bit more general. It can mean take away, but often implies lifting or physically taking something out of a location. Discharge better captures the sense of flowing or radiating outwards. It's another example of picking the specific scientific vocabulary.
Okay, precise scientific term wins again. Last one, blank 4. The material cools by letting perspiration options. 4, evaporate, vaporize, volatilize, condense. This one feels a bit more like everyday science.
It does, yeah. It blends common sense with a bit of basic physics or chemistry. So perspiration is basically water. It doesn't really vaporize or volatilize easily at body temperature like, say, gasoline might. Those terms imply a more volatile substance or maybe boiling, so those are out.
And condense.
Well, condensation is when gas turns back into liquid,
Right.
like dew forming. That process actually releases heat. It makes things warmer, not cooler. Think about steam condensing on your skin. It feels hot.
Ah, right, good point.
So that leaves evaporate. And that's exactly what happens. Liquid sweat turns into water vapor, and that process takes heat away from your skin, cooling you down. It's the basic principle of evaporative cooling.
So a mix of eliminating unlikely processes and recalling basic science.
Got it. Okay, so we've gone through the rule, the examples. What's the big takeaway here for you, the listener? How does this apply more broadly than just, a specific test?
Yeah, stepping back, our source really points to two fundamental things you need to investigate whenever you're dealing with this kind of precise language. First, the exact meanings of the words themselves. Not just synonyms, but their specific nuances, connotations, and how they're used in certain fields. And second, really understanding the context where the word appears. Is it scientific, formal,
Yeah.
casual? What's the purpose of the communication? These two things, word meaning and context, are crucial not just for tests, but for, well, understanding anything complex, reading critically, writing clearly, you name it. It really shows how even looking at something seemingly simple, like fill in the blanks, can teach us a lot about language, about context, about scientific accuracy even. It really encourages you to slow down and notice the subtle clues words give off, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You really do end up with a better framework for tackling complex information, not just for exams, but for figuring out a dense article in a field you don't know, or just communicating your own ideas more effectively.
So here's something to think about as you go about your day. How often are you in a situation, maybe at work, maybe just reading something, where picking the most precise word, not just one that's close enough, could totally change how something is understood, or maybe prevent a misunderstanding, or perhaps even spark a completely new idea? It's almost like language has these hidden layers of meaning we can unlock. Definitely something to mull over.